No, I didn't know until right now that that's what he was talking about when he was saying I was being mean. Me just venting to him is what he's talking about, that I was mean to my sister wives?
Because he's a master manipulator. What's she supposed to do? Sorry, I shouldn't have said that about him, actually. He's just fine. He's just a dude, it happens.
Is it?
He always said, I'm a good guy. Like, before, I was like, oh, my dad's not, like, being such a great person. And now, watching this, I'm like, that's my father? I do not like the way he's talking or behaving this and claiming things happened when they didn't. It's wild to me. He's like a totally different person.
Let's talk about the...
Hey everyone, it's Kody from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Wednesday, April 19th, 2023. I'm just getting around to Kody Brown's reaction video from last week, and I apologize. I'm sure other creators have already talked about it, but I noticed something in her most recent video that I wanted to tell you about because it's kind of interesting. I haven't done a video on every single one of her reaction videos because honestly, I feel like we get a little bit of overkill about the criticism about Kody and Robyn because it's like, it feels kind of like the same things that we've been saying. And then to hear the kids say it, you're kind of like, yeah, I see that too, sort of thing. You know what I'm talking about? So, but with this one, there was this part of the tell-all that literally never made any sense to me. And she touched on it. And it has to do with Kody's reluctance to talk about Robyn. And this reluctance to talk about Robyn made me feel like there was something going on in their marriage where things were not happy, copacetic. His reluctance to, you know, he had a perfect opportunity given to him by Suki to say like why he loves her and what is so great about her and all these different things about her. Robyn like spent a lot of time defending herself, calling, you know, in the third part of the tell-all, she said that Kody was like, she treats Kody like her best customer and that she was tired of getting blamed for other people having bad relationships. It's easy to say that when you're the instigator of a lot of the problems that are happening in the family, Robyn. Just saying. It was Kody's reluctance to even talk about Robyn that made Gwendolyn pause and think that there was something going on in their marriage that happened either that day or recently that was making him not want to say anything about her because he always gets mad at the kids apparently when they speak ill of Robyn. And when that happens, he'll defend Robyn. But at this time, when he had the opportunity to say something nice about her, he wouldn't. So it made her feel like there's trouble in paradise. She also addressed Robyn being an instigator and Kody being a master manipulator. So let's dive into today's topic. Before we do, can you please do me a big favor and give this video a thumbs up? Also, please subscribe to my channel, and if you have not yet subscribed, by clicking on the subscribe button down below. I have a large percentage of you that literally tune in for every single one of these Sister Wives videos that do not subscribe. And I would love to see all of you that have not subscribed. So if you're one of those people that's been sitting on the edge, waiting to subscribe, do it. Also, if you have something to say, leave a comment, turn the notifications on by clicking on the bell, and share this video with your friends. I've spent a lot of time learning about polygamy, and I've spent a lot of time talking to people from this world, interviewing people, trying to understand, you know, the cultural dynamics that happen in these types of families. There's a lot of times that we can see Kody acting like a narcissist, and then there's a lot of times if you talk to people that are from polygamy, they will basically explain like the way that Kody is acting is very common for men in this culture because the culture breeds narcissism. So a lot of people have said to me, not every guy that's in this world is a narcissist, but does it create narcissistic men through the culture? Yes. If somebody already is tends to have narcissistic personality disorder, is it going to make things worse? Yes. Does someone leave this system and like not become as much of a, like become less of a narcissist? Yes. In Kody's case, I think he happens to be narcissistic or have narcissistic personality disorder. And then I also think that because a lot of times those disorders are a product of trauma in childhood, it means that kids get through these systems. And while he didn't grow up in the LDS, it's been said on the podcast of his brothers, Michael and Travis, that their dad was very abusive. And some of the personality disorders, some of them come from childhood trauma. So it's easy to like get mad at the narcissist, but that narcissist was created somehow. So it makes you sad if you think about how there's all these little kids that get neglected and abused, and it creates like and fosters really unhealthy people, and then it creates unhealthy dynamics, and then they don't look at or take care of their mental health. They don't get treatment for mental illness. They don't take medicine. They don't go to psychiatrists or psychologists. They are constantly in states of trauma. So it's easy for me to like rail on Kody and say that I like absolutely hate him. But think about the little boys that are currently born into polygamy right now, and how some of these boys might end up in the very same situation, narcissistic, ego-driven, and full of gaslighting and delusions. And I think about how sad that is, because children are not born often with those tendencies. These kids are being ruined through the beliefs, through the cycles of abuse, through the generational trauma, and it's a cycle that just keeps repeating itself. So when you think about Christine leaving, it's a big leave. So that's sort of a side jaunt to sort of explain to you that just because a man is narcissistic in polygamy doesn't mean they're going to be narcissistic outside of polygamy, and it doesn't mean that they're not narcissistic, but the culture breeds narcissism. And a lot of the talking points that he uses and the behaviors he has with his wives are common in this culture. And Kody, if you really look at him, he acts like a quintessential narcissistic polygamist, sadly. So one thing that we noticed a lot this season was Kody's inability to really like take responsibility for anything, and his ability to sort of like go off the rabbit hole in the deep end. And I was talking to someone from his family that was telling me that conspiracies really are a big thing in this culture, and they really do believe weird conspiracies that have no roots in reality, which again is something of a product of the culture, could be a product of mental health, I don't know. But Kody has this ability to not plant in reality a lot of times. And he gaslights a lot. And he openly admits to manipulating to get what he wants. And I've been kind of viewing the manipulation not from the standpoint of Kody's an evil human being, but I sometimes look at it as when you have a lot of wives and you have to get to a means to an end, sometimes manipulating people to get the means to the end, to avoid the conflict and to get the desired result will happen. It's like the path of least resistance. And I sometimes see Kody doing that, where it's like he's just trying to get what it is that he wants, and then he's going to do whatever it is to get it. And it doesn't matter if someone gets hurt along the way. And then when you add that on top of the fact that like he has all these different wives that he has to take care of and go through, he doesn't have any time to really like connect with any one of them. And then when he finally finds a wife that he loves, everyone else kind of falls to the wayside, because at the heart of it, Kody was looking for someone that he had that deep relationship with, and he finally gets it. It's such a complicated, convoluted system that you can look at Kody as the villain, but you can also look at Kody as a product of the system, and the system is broken. I don't know if that makes sense, and I know a lot of you guys hate Kody. I just wanted to put that out there. So when we talk about her, Gwendolyn, she talks about how Kody is a master manipulator, which is true. I agree. Kody is narcissistic. I agree. She talks about how there was an opportunity for Kody to actually speak about his relationship with Robyn, and he decided not to speak about it.
Okay. I'm a little confused on that, because she's like, Robyn has this beautiful, she's saying that you have this beautiful relationship, and my dad's like, I'm not going to talk about that. And I'm worried if they had like a fight this morning, because this seems like a bad time. Because usually my dad's like, Robyn's the most perfect person in the world, and now he's like just completely silent on the subject. And I feel like this would be a great opportunity to express how much he loves and adores her, and try to convince people to feel the same way about her that he does. He's choosing to be silent. And it makes me wonder, it makes me think like, what happened in that situation to make him feel this way?
Part of me when I watched it the first time was kind of like, maybe Kody is just protecting her. Maybe he already knows he's going to get a lot of backlash, and he's trying to like minimize the backlash that he receives. Maybe Kody doesn't want to say anything because he knows that all the other wives are going to blame her anyway. And then that didn't make any sense to me, because he did say things like, she came cap in hand, she was so sweet, she was so loving. But when he was confronted about why he loved her, he couldn't say why. And it's really funny because in the entire time that they've been married and on the show, I've never heard him say why he loves her. I've never heard him say, like, I love that she's a kind-hearted woman. I love how I feel when this happens, or she does this, or how nurturing she is, or her. I mean, he talks a lot about how she can communicate well and how she's so, obedient and submissive, and she listens to him. But it's rarely about her attributes. In the same episode, or in the same time frame, he said, respect matters to me, love doesn't. So the fact that Robyn respects him is why he loves her. And does he understand that if he says that, he's going to look like an idiot? Because she calls him her best customer, and he's like, she's compliant and obedient. That doesn't sound like a being soulmates relationship, right? I think they are struggling, and I think Gwendolyn is picking up on that, because this would have been a perfect opportunity for him to say something nice about her. But I think he was fighting so hard for everyone to see her how he did, that now that he's lost all of that, he's going to blame her, which is why we keep hearing about how their marriage is struggling. And I fully believe that it's struggling. And Gwendolyn was asked later on about, the trouble that she's having with her family and how they've shunned her. She doesn't think that Robyn and Kody are going to come to their wedding, and that they're not really talking to anyone. And she's not sure if that has anything to do with polygamy and the culture, but she is sure that that's probably part of it. When I speak to people like Kristen Decker, she says that their behavior right now is just so protocol typical of polygamists, and says that if you don't follow the patriarch, everyone else gets shunned. And then the patriarch's going to only want to have other people that obey him around him. So those that are disobedient don't get to be around those that are obedient, because they don't want the disobedient ones to affect the obedient ones. It's stupid. But she says that she thinks a lot of the problems that she has now are instigated by Robyn.
So Rachel Montgomery says, how come Robyn does not hold Kody accountable for anything? And plus examples. At this point, I could honestly see Robyn as part of the issues we have with my dad, as an instigator. So I don't know if she would want to hold him accountable, but that's my theory. My dad and Robyn and all those kids are invited, but I don't know if they'll want to come. It seems like we've kind of been shunned from him. And I don't think he wants anything to do with the rest of us. I really hope they do come. I terribly miss my siblings.
I wanted you to just see what she had to say about the wedding. It's not really in line with the first clip that I showed you, but just so you could hear it from her, that she doesn't think they're going to come to the wedding and that they've shunned her. But I thought it was interesting how she said, why doesn't Robyn ever hold your dad accountable? And she said, because I think that Robyn is the instigator of a lot of these problems, so she doesn't have a lot of incentive to hold him accountable. So I kind of think of it this way. If Robyn's in her husband's ear about an issue, say she's decided that she's upset with the way that the kids have been treated, or she feels disrespected, or she has decided that she's been targeted, because she always is the victim, she might plant that idea into Kody's brain, and then Kody goes out and yammers out and screams at everyone, right? So if Kody is super invested in her and wants to protect her, she can say things to him, and then he'll yell at everyone. And then she doesn't have to look like the bad guy, right? So she can, this is why I've always thought they're both kind of narcissistic, because she can get Kody to look like the bad guy when she's the one that's a lot of times, I think, behind the scenes pulling the strings. I've heard from a lot of people that know Kody and Robyn that say that Kody's bad, but Robyn's worse. And what they mean by that is that she's more calculated, more manipulative, more willing to be super underhanded. She will do things that are only in the best interest of her. She will constantly find a way to make herself the victim in every situation, and then she can get Kody riled up because she knows that Kody has a savior complex. So Kody has said repeatedly that he has this complex where he wants to rescue people all the time. And so Robyn constantly finds ways for Kody to rescue her. So if she makes herself like the damsel in distress that's being targeted and villainized and victimized constantly, Kody will then go do her dirty work. So if she's got a problem with Christine, she can develop an idea in her brain that Christine said something to her or did something to her, and then Kody can go yell at Christine about it. And then she doesn't look like she looks the wise, like she doesn't look like the bad person. Robyn always has said, like, I don't talk to Kody about my problems, but it's so evident that they do talk about their problems because Kody is often the one that's like going to Robyn for communication. And something else that Gwendolyn had talked about, I don't know if it was in this video or another, was that the family always wants Robyn to be the person to help, like, with the communication and to problem solve, but she always feels like that problem solving is manipulative in that she always feels like Robyn has like a manipulative tactic for why she wants to help, and that the end result is that Robyn's getting what she wants. Robyn did this in a lot of different ways throughout the years. You know, she found a way to get Mary to believe that she didn't want to go to school, and she tried to and she convinced Janelle that she didn't want to give up on the sister wives closet, and that Janelle needed to give up on the gym because it was too expensive, and that, you know, she had to have a nanny because of X, Y, and Z, and she always needed help even though everyone else around her offered to help. She's, a lot of times you can see her working behind the scenes doing things. And that was something that people were telling me, is that Kody is so petrified because it's like he's met his match in her. Because now she was able to manipulate Mary to give up her legal marriage so that she convinced Kody, manipulated Kody into believing that he had to take custody of the kids because David was going to take the kids back, which probably wasn't really a threat. She manipulated him to adopt the kids. She manipulated him to move to Flagstaff. She's manipulated him to develop COVID rules to keep her safe and Solomon safe based on false logic. She said that Solomon needed these COVID rules because he was going to die at high risk because of RSV, which we know factually is just not the truth. Children all have, like, so many kids have RSV. And I want to say this, like, because I don't think I've ever shared this, but here's me getting personal. I was in the hospital with my son in 2013. He was 3 months old, and a little girl on the floor, his next door neighbor in the ICU, passed away from the flu and RSV. I have seen firsthand what a child looks like that is on the verge of death, and I've seen a child die from RSV. I've had that same mom whose child passed away crumble into my arms and start crying. I'll never forget that little girl. I'll never forget that family. I will never forget the devastation that they felt. And when I think about RSV and the seriousness, that's what I think about. I don't think about how Solomon had it when he was 2 years old and he never had to be hospitalized. I also think about how my son had it when he was 2 years old and he never had to be hospitalized. And when I was preparing our COVID strategy for my son, we never once considered the RSV diagnosis as a factor. But Robyn used that as a method to manipulate. She used my compromised immune system, is what she would say, to manipulate. I have lung problems. What are those lung problems, Robyn? I've never seen you have lung problems. He might have developed all of these rules, but his COVID protocols never matched his real life beliefs. He's an anti-vaxxer. He believed in all of the weird alternative medical treatments. He was totally against masks. He was completely against everything being shut down. Those rules were not designed for safety. They were designed to manipulate and control. And the family and the kids were right to call Robyn out for it because she is the one that created them. And I think fans all saw that. And Robyn's also said she had to save her job. I mean, of course she did. How else is she going to get paid? She doesn't have any income outside of being on Sister Wives. Is Robyn the instigator? Is Kody the instigator? I think they're both instigators. I think Robyn is actually worse than Kody, and I think Kody is just got played. It's like when the narcissist You know, like when they say like the narcissist has met his match and like they got played, like he got played. Like Robyn is going to be the end of him. I guarantee you. She will divorce him. She will take everything that he has. She will leave him with nothing, and Robyn will send him into poverty. Mark my words. April 18th, 19th, 2023. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.